thing you have ever done while high.
I had the munches and walked to a Subway nearby. On the way back I see a car in the driveway and wonder who it is. Turned out it was the pizza I ordered and immediately forgot about. Went downstairs to pour a glass of milk for myself. My parents happened to be in the kitchen. So in my best sober impression I pour a glass quickly and leave. Halfway up the stairs I realize I took the gallon and not the glass. At that point I had to commit.
Story to that.
I was on Skype with my best friend, and as she was talking to me, I just sat there watching her, because I thought I was watching Netflix. Smoked a bong. After getting my tonsils out, when I was told not to, thought I couldn't taste the old vanilla ice cream I was eating, and that I had fried my taster buds, because I smoked too soon after the surgery. This made sense at the time. My dad walked in the kitchen as I was pouring the salt shaker in my mouth to see if I could taste it all. My cousin and I got stoned on his roof late at night and his brother couldn't know we smoked. So once the munches kicked in we went to his kitchen to get some chocolate biscuit cake. My cousin put down 2 tiny ass plates and 2 forks. He then proceeded to slam the fork into the cake. I said, "Why don't you use a knife?" But then he just smiled and ripped off the most perfect piece of cake I've ever seen. Then he spotted his brother and ran into his room and left me in the kitchen. I was going to run too, but I hadn't got my piece of cake yet. His brother walked into the kitchen and said, "Oh, chocolate biscuit cake." And I was under so much pressure to act normal that I didn't know what to do. So I slammed my fork into the cake and smiled and proceeded to rip the cake in half. He freaked out and said, "Why the fuck didn't you use a knife?" And then the uncontrollable laughter kicked in. I said I didn't know where the knives were, to which he replied, "Where did you get the fork?" So I pointed at a random drawer which he opened, and had only knives in it. I couldn't control my laughter anymore, so I ran away with my giant piece of cake falling off my tiny plate. I don't think he knew I was high. Probably. When I was in high school I got too high, and knew it was obvious to my mom. When she got home, I texted my friend saying I think my mom knows I'm high. My mom then walked in and just looked at me, and said yes I do. Checked my messages, and it turns out I had accidentally sent the text to her. A friend and I cut a block of cheddar into little cubes, melted half of them, and dipped the rest of the cubes in the melted cheese. So good. At this point in my life I had agoraphobia, and while high, mustered up the courage to go grocery shopping for what was probably the 4th time in my life. Great idea. I'm so fucking stoned that I decide to try the deli counter for the first time ever, and I see this little container on the counter. I start to panic and scramble to find a tip for what my high mind decided was a tip jar. I get my order, smile at the deli person, and make eye contact with her as I go to put $2 in the jar. But it isn't a tip jar. It's the trash can for the tickets. And we are still making eye contact. And I slowly die as I have to commit to my mistake and stuff my money into the trash can. It took me 4 years to go to a deli counter again. Not me but a friend. We have a popular chicken finger shop called Raising Cane's in our college town. Now those of you familiar with Cane's know that they only serve one thing, chicken fingers. All you can decide other than that is how many you want, and whether you want fries, coleslaw, toast and sauce. My roommate, high as hell, sat in the parking lot for a solid 20 minutes deciding just how many chicken fingers he wanted. When he finally came to his conclusion, he proceeded to pull into the drive-thru, only to realize the store had been closed before he even pulled into the parking lot to start his decision-making process. First time I was ever high, walked back to my dorm. I decided that I needed to talk to myself, in a tangible sense. Went on my laptop and FaceTimed myself through my iPhone. Had a full-on conversation with myself, with feedback, for a solid 10 minutes. Ordered delivery and it was going to be about an hour, so ordered delivery from somewhere else to snack on. First time I ever smoked. Just chilling in my friend's room at about 11 p.m, sleeping over. We are just watching TV, and all of a sudden everything is just pitch black. Me being high, and not really knowing how to act, I figure, okay, it must be time for bed then. Only it's so dark I can't see anything, so I just kind of fumble around in the dark for a while, until I eventually feel a doorknob in front of me. I turn it, locked, For some reason, no matter how many times I turned this locked door knob, it just wouldn't open. Maybe it was because it was locked, but who knows? /s. Eventually I hear a light tapping on the door. I tap back. Tap tap tap. Tap tap tap. This continued for like 5 minutes. Just me tapping in response to some random tapping on the other side of this door. I'm still standing in pitch black. No clue where I am, what the tapping is, or how to open this door. Eventually, I figure out how to unlock the door and open it up. My friend, his sister, and her friend are just standing in the hall. I was in the bathroom the whole time, and had no idea. Apparently, at around 11, I went to go to the bathroom, walked in, locked the door, and just stood there. Never turned on the lights, never actually went to the bathroom, never even moved my feet from the same spot for about 45 minutes. 45 minutes. After about 30 minutes my friend got worried about me, and started knocking on the door, and asking if I was okay, but wasn't sure what it meant, when I just knocked back from the other side. Over a year later, they still haven't let me live it down. Just one of the memorable stories I have from that night. My first time was by far the best time I've ever smoked. Wish I could go back. I worked at Subway when I was in high school. My friends and I thought it would be awesome to get high before work. It was my first few times getting high, and once I got to work I was out of this world. I was taking someone's order and they wanted their sandwich toasted. I put the sandwich on the pan, turned around to place it in the toaster, and then dropped it on the floor. I couldn't stop laughing, and I'm pretty sure that person wanted to punch me in the face. Topped my macaroni and cheese with shredded cheese. Congratulated myself for being a genius. High-fived myself, took it into my blanket fort, and fell asleep while eating it. I asked some lady as slowly as possibly if a greyhound was a racing horse. A racing horse. Got home late from work one night, put some food in the oven, smoked a bowl, and then watched some TV. About 15 minutes into cooking my dinner, I get this really high-pitched ringing in my ear. It was pretty loud, and I couldn't figure out what it was. I thought maybe it was the TV, so I turned the volume down, but nope. That's when I realized it was the fire alarm going off. I had accidentally put my food on wax paper instead of parchment paper. My ex used to sometimes talk in her sleep. One night I was up really late, and was high just watching TV, and I heard her say, very clearly to me, "Let's get McDonald's." I thought to myself that it was a great idea, so I got up and started getting dressed. After I was done I went back to wake her, and she was out. I shook her a couple of times and said, "Let's go, I'm ready." She finally woke up and said, "What? No, it's late, go to bed." I was so disappointed, because I totally thought she wanted to go, and I was too high to drive, so I had to get undressed again, and go back to bed. Looking back, I totally should have known that was just her talking in her sleep, but I was so high I did not want to accept that as the reality, and chose to believe I was gonna get some McDonald's. I took edibles at high school, was in chemistry, when they kicked in. We had to write down some answers from some questions in a textbook, but I was too high to function, and wrote down the questions instead. I couldn't stop laughing when my friend pointed it out to me. Then when I was leaving class I couldn't get my books into my bag, so had the brilliant idea to empty my bag all over the floor, and spent the next 10 minutes trying to put it all back in. The first time I smoked weed I walked around pretending to be a velociraptor. After that I passed out for an hour. When I woke up the power was off not only in my house, but the stores across the street too. I stood up and started pacing around the room, freaking out. I thought the power company shut off power for the whole town, because I forgot to pay my power bill. It took my friend 30 minutes to convince me it was just a power outage. Lol.
Half an hour later,
Ordered Taco Bell drive-thru from a newspaper dispenser. Gave my whole order to a newspaper dispenser. Finally realized what I was doing. Rolled up another 5 feet to the machine to place my order. The staff was, rightfully, laughing at me. We were smoking at a friend's house in his garage. A girl asks him if he'll go inside and get her some water. He goes inside for about an hour, comes out wearing basketball shorts and a tank top. Telltale sign he just jerked off. and the first thing he says is, "Oh shit, I
I'll
forgot
start
the
listening in the
water.
next
I went to pee and forgot to fucking pull down my underwear."
one. Oh my god. Listen. How the fuck do you go to the bathroom and forget to pull your pants down? Listen. Listen, okay? This is good as fuck. I forgot what I was saying. Oh, right. How do you forget to pull your pants down if you go in the bathroom? Like, what kind of drugs are you on? Because on weed, I always remember to pull mine down. Okay. Okay.